Welcome and thank you for joining me. The timestamps are in the description box. Let's jump right in. Story number 1. Opie writes, my 25 female relationship with my boyfriend 25 male is potentially getting ruined because of bathrooms. Okay, so you might be thinking, what the F is this post about? Well, to be quite frank, it's exactly what the title says. Feel free to criticize me if I'm wrong about this post. I don't care. Now to get into what's been happening. 2 years in. Me and my boyfriend have full-time jobs, so it's obvious we don't get to spend as much time together as we like. But when we are able to, there is one issue. He always has to either poop or shower. But here is the real issue with that. When he goes to poo, he spends 4 to 5 hours in there minimum. Yesterday, I timed his bathroom break and it was 5 hours and 21 minutes. He lets the crap dry on his ass. That's how long he will sit there, and his excuse was that he, quote, loses track of time, unquote. When he takes a shower, he spends 4 hours maximum. The time he usually spends in the shower is 3.5 hours. We had plans to hang out today, but guess what? When he got home, he sat and watched TV, and then an hour later, I asked him when we're going to go on with our plans for today, and he said he's going to take a shower. I told him to please not, since he takes so much time, and his response was, it is what it is. And it has just angered me to the point where I left. I'm at a girlfriend's house at the moment, completely just infuriated, because I'm typing this out to Reddit right now, because it's just ridiculous. He doesn't know I left, but hopefully it hits him that it's a genuine problem in the relationship. Our time has been little to none for months because of this problem, and I've tried giving him a 1-hour timer for his poops and an hour for his showers. He declines. I pay the water and sewer bills. I'm just wondering what the F to do, because I love him dearly, but surprisingly a stupid problem like this is causing emotional and relationship problems. All I can do is laugh. Edit. This post is not a troll post. As ridiculous as it does sound, I do want advice. It is harming my relationship and it is real. Thank you. And here's an update from Opie. So I am home now. I had to sit down and talk about the situation. He broke down crying. He explained to me that he really does lose track of time. He has been feeling very, very depressed, but was scared to tell me out of fear of putting his problems onto me. He says he feels out of body when this happens. I had a very helpful user comment about disassociation, and this very much sounds like it. Another thank you to all the users who commented about disassociation as well. We are heading to his doctor tomorrow morning. Thank you for all of the nice replies in my previous post. He is in good hands. Edit. He does not do drugs, so please stop commenting about that. It's disgusting. He does not watch porn either, so quit it, guys. Well, OP, when somebody spends that much time on the toilet or in the shower, then there is definitely something wrong. Going to a psychologist or a psychiatrist about this is really the smartest thing you can do, because you can't deal with this on your own, just the two of you. And you know, that is always the single most important step, is to admit that there's a problem and to seek help. A lot of people these days are struggling with depression, despair, and hopelessness, and those are things that people in your age group, your generation, seem to be struggling with in particular. The last number of years have not been easy ones to step out into the adult world and to make things happen for yourself. There's a lot of stress and anxiety surrounding that for quite a number of very young adults. I think we can all agree that it has been a difficult 3-4 years for most of us. Just about everybody has faced some struggle. So Opie, I do wish you and your boyfriend the very best in dealing with this. And on we go to story number 2. OP, 33 female, writes about her boyfriend, 35 male. My boyfriend and I have been together for 11 years, and he's been struggling with alcohol addiction for the last year at least, maybe longer. When I asked him to be mindful of how much he consumes, because it made me uncomfortable, he proceeded to hide it from me. When I was able to keep track, he was going through a full handle of vodka a week. My mother was an alcoholic, and so it stresses me out to see him behave this way, and is aware of it. He's had several incidents this year where he vomited or urinated on our bed and then proceeded to lie to me about it. He's much larger than I am and often gets belligerent when he's drunk. He's got some deep-seated commitment issues as well that he fails to address. Refuses to go to therapy. Whenever marriage is brought up, he breadcrumbs me into believing it will happen. Even talked me into purchasing a house with him in 2017. He had a more recent incident of drunkenness on December 4th/5th, where I woke up at 3 a.m. because he was trying to pee in my closet and got belligerent with me when I dragged/directed him to our bathroom. All attraction for him has dried up, and I can safely say I never want to marry this man, which makes the relationship kinda pointless for me now. I have secured an apartment and I'll be getting my utilities set up this week with the intention of leaving him by the end of the month. I am struggling with the words I want to use when we break up though, and would appreciate some wordsmithing. I don't want to narrow it entirely down to alcohol because it only played a truly damaging part in the last year. I tried to leave him in 2019 and he just argued the breakup the entire time instead of just letting me go with grace. He will probably get angry and hysterical, but I'll do my best to push through it. It's probably also important to note I've been in therapy for the last 5 years, coping with grief and handling the loss of my grandparents who raised me. My therapist has also urged me to leave him. That was a month ago, and here's OP's update. I left him Saturday, January the 28th after a huge fight regarding his drinking, and while looking for his booze stash I found lingerie that wasn't mine and had clearly been worn. The next morning he was back in the cycle of kissing my ass to make me forget he was a jerk, so he made me coffee and left to his friend's house for a few hours. After he left, I grabbed as much of my clothing and toiletries as I could and sped down to my apartment to offload. By the time I returned, he had also returned. He was nervously mowing the yard and doing maintenance on the house. I asked, quote, "So, does the lingerie belong to you or someone else?" unquote. He tried to explain it was a white elephant gift from his idiot friends he just had, and some other nonsense. Exclaimed that he would never cheat on me and a few other asinine statements. He was surprisingly calm and skipped hysterical, thankfully. I told him none of it mattered and that we were essentially done because he never put any effort he promised into resolving our issues the last time we broke up. He accepted it. He then bowed out to give me time to grab more of my things. We've been cordial through the week, and I have worked from the house we co-owned twice while he was out at work. He's guilt-tripping me, saying things like, "Oh, I wasted your time," or "I ruined your life." I was pretty devastated the first few days. Couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, and I missed him. Then we had a conversation Thursday that made something click in me. Thursday we talked just regarding the house. He was discussing how miserable he was, and I asked him, quote, "Why didn't you tell me you didn't want to get married?" unquote. He tried to say that I blindsided him by not wanting children, which was a discussion we had 2 years into the relationship. I got sterilized in September 2022 because I was tired of taking birth control and the paranoia of bringing a child into the world that I didn't want. I reminded him that I told him 2 years in, and I said if it was such an issue then, we should have broken up then. He's been better since then, and I feel less sad about the breakup. My appetite is returning, and I'm sleeping much better. I don't think I'll ever know what it was about me that wasn't enough for him. Regardless of any of it though, he would have had the drinking issue, so the commitment issue is moot. I'm having a hard time picturing myself with anyone again, but it's probably for the best, so that I can heal and rediscover myself. Well, OP, you said it is for the best, and it's not about you not being enough. Your ex obviously has his own issues and things that he needs to deal with. I don't think it's this issue about the children. I think there's a whole lot more going on here, but sometimes you can't help people. Sometimes you have to think about your own sanity and self-preservation and let somebody figure things out by themselves with help, but somebody else's help, not yours. 11 years is a long time, but you know, we live and we learn, OP, and I think you're going to be okay. It's going to be an adjustment, but you're going to be okay. And your ex will be fine too if he goes out and he gets help and he really commits himself to making the changes and living a sober life. Let's move on to our final story, story number 3. Opie writes, I have this friend, very close friend for the last 5 years, who allegedly has no sense of smell, like they can't smell anything at all, and has told me it even affects their ability to taste things. I've known this since I met them around 5 years ago. I've accidentally tried to make them smell things like candles and food and such while we're out at places. And they'd be like, quote, oh, I'm sure it smells good, but I can't smell anything, remember? Unquote. And we'd laugh and I'd feel bad. It took a long time to get used to, but after so many slip-ups and reminders that they can't smell, it was ingrained in my memory by the end of year 1 that they truly can't smell anything. Now, just recently, they told me that actually they've been able to smell this whole time. For all 5 years I've known them, they've been able to smell. I said, quote, bro, the F would you lie about something like that? How do you keep up that big of a lie for years, unquote? And they said it all started when they had a crush on this girl, and they were in a candle store and she was trying to get them to smell the candles to help her pick one. Well, they were super congested and couldn't smell anything at all, but instead of telling her they were congested, they joked that they couldn't smell anything at all ever since they were born. And it was one of those jokes that turned into seeing how long they could fool her into thinking they couldn't smell anything. And it became so long and elaborate that they told their friends the same thing. So if she ever asked about it, we'd all reaffirm that they can't smell, making the joke last even longer. So recently they felt guilty and was like, quote, 5 years is long enough. I should tell her the truth, unquote. And so they did. And then they told the rest of us, and it was like a bomb went off. We were all this horrified mixture of shock, in awe, and laughing at the sheer craziness of it. As for me, I'm mad, man. Listen, I'm not mad that they lied/joke about their sense of smell for 5 years. That's actually freaking impressive. What I'm mad about is how many times I silently farted around this person, thinking they couldn't smell anything when really they could smell it the whole time. 5 years of farts and they never said a single word about it. Anyways, I don't know if I can ever face them again after that revelation. Well, OP, it is said that the silent ones are the deadliest. And I think that is fair punishment for your friend for lying to you for 5 years about not being able to smell. And who knows, maybe it's those silent ones that made your friend finally realize that this cannot continue. It was time to confess. So anyway, I thank you all for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the stories. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. Consider subscribing. Please leave a comment and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye.